Okay. All right. It has been what, 4 months or something? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it was like May 9th, so right after Berlin.
So we have to go through Dreamleague Season 20, Bali and Riyadh.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's start from the beginning. How was Dreamleague?
Okay, so Berlin, obviously, we got top 2, so then everything was like looking good. For Dream League Season 20, I kind of had this plan that we would take it a little bit easier and kind of use that event as like, let's say, let's say when your team does poorly and you have a good team, they really want to do like well after that. You know, they'll work a lot harder for you. So, Dream League happens. We have a boot camp with Shopify, which was really fun. I think like one of the days we played like volleyball and shit. And anyways, we just go into the event kind of blind. We hadn't really scrimmed or anything like that. Kind of just like decided to YOLO it. So for like 2 weeks, we gave everyone time off because everyone was just burnt out to shit, you know. And then we play Dream League, and it goes not amazingly. I think day one we start like 0-2 against Tundra. We just get worked, and
Yeah.
then it's like I don't know. Things never really recovered, and our only 2-0 series was like with 2 stand-ins where we fucked over TSM. But we did not
Yeah,
try very
after you
hard.
were already eliminated, you
Yeah, it was
guys
just a
brought
dick
North
move.
America down. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was just totally a dick move. And not that we're like any team's ever gonna throw or anything like that, but like just sucks to have nothing to play for and fuck somebody else over.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
it's just kind of funny. And then it just tanked our chances. We realized it tanked our chances into skipping the play-ins at Riyadh, which was kind of funny. Went from
Yeah.
literally second to dead last. So everyone was pretty mad. I remember like everyone was pretty motivated at that point, and we really wanted to do well at um, Riyadh. That was just or Bali and Riyadh. It was just funny. Um, so Bali Major boot camp happens with Shopify, and I'd say the boot camp went pretty poorly. Like the first day we played Shopify, we straight up got like fucking well whammed. You know, like I'm talking. So we scheduled a best of 5 against Shopify, um, and it was like we play. We I told Bulba that we would do a mercy rule that if any team was down 4-0, the other team could just call it off. Because I don't know how if people watching this know, but the way that like we say best of fives, but we just mean 5 game series. You
Yeah.
know, like if it's 3-0, you would continue to play. It's kind of like when you schedule a best of 3 against a team, you still play 3 games. So it's just how we fucking default refer to everything. So
Because you're trying to
uh,
get practice and you are scheduling an allotted time. So you
yeah,
don't want that like 2 or 3 hours. You want 3 hours of practice.
yeah. So for context, guys, like a draft takes like a solid, 15, 20 minutes. Um, and we started the scrims at 2:30 and dinner's at 6. Okay, so we started 2:30, dinner's at 6. First game, I remember we should have won. We were up like 5K at 11 minutes, but like we fuck up like 5 fights in a row. Then we're like pretty tilted. Second game, a little bit longer. Third game, I think we lost in like 20 minutes. Fourth game, we lost at like 15. Like altogether, they 4-0'd us from at 2:30 we started and we were done like 5:50 or something. Like we lost like 4 games in less than 3 hours. It was pretty bad.
Your motivation must have been really good. You guys got fucking dead last in Dream League, and then you get stomped to shit by Shopify Rebellion, who
Yeah,
has not really been that good of a team this year.
no. Um, Honestly, in scrims though, they were incredible. And I saw a lot of people just to kind of go back on Dream League 20. Like I really use motivation from like I really like to read the hate comments sometimes, not to respond to them anymore, but more just like because I think it's good for me to keep that fire and same for my team. So when people are like after we had gone like second like 5 times in a row and like third at TI, I figured we'd get some respect. Be like, oh, they just didn't try very hard for this event. But it's like, yeah, I knew Liquid was going to be garbage. Nisha will never win anything on this team. So all this, garbage trash that you read. Then it's like, you go into Bali with a lot of like fire. So I'm looking at our scrim results. Then we played EG or Shopify again, get rinsed again, get rinsed by Beast Coast. I'm thinking Parker's the best player in the world or some shit. Like I was like, oh fuck me, dude. Like life is just bad. And then the final day, we finally kind of turn it around and we actually beat Shopify. And so like we're kind of figuring things out. You know, that's how it's looking. Okay, we're kind of figuring things out.
Yeah,
So then we go
yeah.
into Bali and we just fucking like crush everybody during groups. Like something I really like about my team is like we start the group kind of slow. You know, like we play against like I think we started against Shopify and we went like 1-1. Wasn't the best result, wasn't the worst result. Keep in mind we thought Shopify was like the best team in the world. You know, because we're just beating our
Yeah,
asses.
yeah.
So we're like, oh, going 1-1 against them is okay. Then we 2-0 like I think we played Blacklist or something. 2-0 Blacklist. Then we just like the ball just keeps rolling. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we 2-0
yeah, yeah.
Astra, we 2-0 Execution. Like everything just feels easy, if that makes
Yeah, you
sense.
do
Like
team spirit the next day. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then we get first in our groups. We're memeing. We're like, do we take Gladiators or LGD? I wish we had taken Gladiators. Like I'd say I don't want to call out anybody, but I pussied out for sure. But my
Yes,
team,
so we talked about it,
yeah,
and
some
other people
people,
that I talked to all agreed that you guys had the momentum, so therefore you should
yeah,
take
we should have
gaming
done
out
it.
of the
We
picture
should have done
now.
it. Yeah, we learned from that mistake. Don't worry. No spoiler alerts, but we learned our lesson. So then we get first in another group. This is like the 15th time we got first in groups, which is I think pretty consistent, you know.
Hmm.
Um in our group, we think that no one is that amazing is the one thing. We just think our group's kind of bad, actually, which
Yeah, yeah,
more or less turned out to be the case. Like, I
it
don't
did.
know. You
Yeah.
you can kind of just feel it sometimes that a group is kind of bad. You know, we're just like, okay. Um, then the bet boom shit happens because we're getting ready to mentally play bet boom. Okay, wait, I skipped a step. We play LGD. Um, we have a really good strat against LGD. Then game two, this fucking Primal Beast fucking Donkey Kongs us, and we get
And
worked.
that was the one strategy that PSG LGD looked really good on was if
Yeah,
they gave nothing to say Primal Beast, then
let this guy
they
cook.
yeah, they just let him cook and they all fucking jump on his back and ride their way to victory.
Yeah, and in game three they did some crack stuff. I think I'd run over. Like, okay, so
That
feeling
was the
pretty good.
Broodmother carry? Was that the one?
Yeah, yeah, there was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
no
yeah,
shot, dude.
yeah.
um, they had like no stuns. Okay, so we're feeling pretty good, and we're like, okay, which I mean, the thing about LGD and Gladiators is like, there's just no way we were gonna lose to LGD. There's just, I'm sorry, like China, but there's just absolutely no shot. I know it looked like a 2-1, but the series, I promise you, wasn't close.
Mhm.
Um, so then we thought take the freebie. Then we see the bet boom shit. We're only focusing on our side of the bracket right now. We see the bet boom shit. Actually, we look at Aster and we kind of laugh because they had lost like 10 best of threes at that point. Like Sumail's our boy, but we thought that was kind of funny. And it's always like 2-1s. It's not like they get blown out, you know? It's just like
Oh yeah, yeah,
they,
yeah.
they lose unfortunate 2-1s. Anyway, so then we see the bet boom shit. Let me just say, the atmosphere in the event was funny as hell when the bet boom stuff was happening, like live. Then we get accused of like cheating. Like somebody had said, I think it was some mistranslation or something because she apologized to us immediately. But like the Nine Pandas CEO, I don't really remember Ganina's role, but she said that like we left our rooms during a pause because our admin was sleeping.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that never happened. Like
That is a pretty extreme, like getting on the like fucking Spotify and Twitch and stuff. Like leaving your room is pretty extreme.
yeah, I mean, we told them they could check the video logs and like the hotel logs. I was quite confident. And then the tournament organizers were like, "We're not sure where that came from." Like that, and I was like, I was really confused. You have no idea. I was like, I was just getting flamed, and it's like I got so many fucking tweets saying like hypocritical bastards and all this shit from like bunch of random accounts, and I just read on Reddit. I mean, I still keep in touch with Reddit even though I don't really post there anymore because you kind of have to in this job. And somebody's like, why did you fucking leave the room? Like, how is what Team Liquid did okay?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? How is what we did okay. Like we didn't do anything. I asked my
Yeah,
team, I was like, "Did you guys
I'll
just
be
fucking
honest.
leave the room?"
I felt like there was I felt like there was a concerted effort by a certain group to just spray as much shit around as possible to be like, well, other people were doing it, you know. We were
Yeah.
so
Honestly, it
it was a
was
weird
really
time.
fucking confused. Like I was really confused where this was coming from. Like, and if you want to know my thoughts, I feel bad for the kid, and I think intent matters to a certain extent. But at the same time, like you did all tap to watch a fucking stream, like in the middle of a pause game, no matter what. Like I don't. It's not like a mistake thing. Like it was obviously just a really fucking stupid thing. But it's kind of like if you hit somebody with your car, like you didn't mean to, but you fucking did.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, it's I know people will say, well, like nobody was physically hurt, but like in terms of game competitiveness, let's say you did like the equivalent of like getting a DUI. I don't know. It's pretty fucking
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking bad.
Uh, I heard this thing that like there was also some rumors about that like all the teams were supporting like BetBoom or something. Like, let me make it clear, like we just stayed out of this shit. But my personal thoughts were, if that happened to my team, I would be very frustrated and upset. Even though it didn't directly affect the result, still a fucking stupid ass thing to do.
Hmm. Wait, you would be frustrated with your team, or
With
you would be
BetBoom,
frustrated with getting? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I would say, what the hell? I might argue for a similar thing myself. I don't know. It's just it goes against the tournament rules. I think the only thing that the tournament organizer did was like being so wishy-washy. If
Yeah,
I'm
there's
honest.
I think this very frequently happens with these Valve tournaments because there's not a Valve person on site. And every single time the tournament organizer wants to contact Valve, I've been there through so many of these situations where they're like, we're trying to contact Valve because nobody wants to make a move and be wrong because then you're just going to get slapped down by Valve, you know? Like they'll
Mhm.
hit you up like 24 hours later and be like, "Well, that was a dumb fucking decision that you made," you know? And but you have to make a decision. Like every
Yeah.
single time. Nobody wants to make it because they're afraid of being wrong because they don't necessarily like they aren't the ultimate power, you know? So they're running a Valve event, but
Yeah.
they
But
can't get a
somebody
hold of
cheated.
Valve in time, and so you have to do it.
Yeah, somebody cheated. Didn't mean to cheat, but cheating is cheating. And that's just the rules.
Yeah.
People trying to equate it to the Spotify shit are just dumb.
Yeah, that's a very different situation.
An admin telling a guy that he can use Spotify versus a guy just alt tabbing. Like, come on. Okay. So then we get to the Tundra series. I was way too overconfident
Yeah.
against Tundra. Secondly, and not as an excuse, but like if you see our second draft, we pick like Necrophos and all these random heroes.
Yep.
Our sound was not working. So um, there was a left booth and a right booth, and every team that played on the right booth that day lost. Yes, you could make the argument that like better teams and all that jazz, but like the booths were just there was a better booth. There just was straight
uh,
up a better booth. Eventually they ended up fixing it, but like Zai was really mad. He was just like, "What am I supposed to do with this shit? Like I can't hear anything." I was just like, "Okay." Like the better booth just kept winning. Like the better booth won all 4 series. It's like LGD beat Azure Ray, Nine Pandas beat Beast Coast, like Tundra beat us, Gladiators
no,
beat
it was
Quest.
Quest LGD. Wait, July 7th.
Yeah.
It says July 7th was. Oh, sorry, I'm on West Coast, so I'm getting the times mixed up. Never mind.
Uh,
You're good.
so, anyways, some dumbass shit. Like we just laughed. Like what can you fucking do? But you can't like tweet out saying like, because it just looks like fucking Johns and like you're making excuses. But
Yeah.
like, let me just say, guys, I have no reason to lie at this point. Um, aside from maybe our team looks better and it excuses the loss, but let me just make it clear. Like, I don't want to take it because you don't want to take anything away from the enemy team. Like Tundra played great, but at the same time, like we did crush them later on, and it's not like a lot of things changed. If I'm just 100% clear,
Yeah.
AY is a great player. Like fucking loads of respect for that team. I honestly love that team, but it was pretty bullshit that we just couldn't hear each other, and everyone was just mad and tilted. So after that loss, pretty salty. Then Nine Pandas was kind of mad at us because they said, "What the fuck, guys?" And I was like, "What do you
Yeah,
mean?"
we are
And then
supposed to
he's
get
like,
an easy layup on Tundra. Like, what the fuck?
"Ah, uh, Ramses straight up just said they hate playing us because this is like the fourth tournament in a row we've knocked them out.
Oof.
Like if it wasn't for us, I feel like Nine Pandas would get really far.
Yeah.
So yeah, we play them game one, they crush us. My team's not tilted at all. We're like, okay, we're gonna get their asses. Then game 2 and 3, we just absolutely fucking like mixtape them. Like, oh my god, did we did some dirty stuff to that team,
Yeah, the 23-minute game, 27-minute game. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty intense.
Then we play Quest. God damn, this team is annoying. Let me say something about Amar on a side note. Like when people say that like Quest didn't need him and stuff like that, Amar the fucker might be the single most annoying single player to draft against like ever in Dota.
Yeah.
It's kind of bullshit because like you gotta just pick your fucking poison against this guy. Like it's just insane. I'm not saying the rest of Quest isn't bad because that's like the takeaway everyone makes that he's like the entire team. That's also incorrect, obviously. But it's that he just raises your floor like crazy because you're always at a drafting advantage with this guy because there's just certain things teams can't do against him. Like you know how fucking stupid it is to go against a guy. You know exactly what he's gonna play. There's no pocket picks. There's no like or out of pocket picks. Like there's no random hero coming out of nowhere. Like everything he does, he's going to tell you. That
Yeah.
he's gonna do it,
He
and it's
says, I'm going to play Timbersaw, Broodmother, or Mars. Take your pick. I'm going to
he
play one of those heroes.
yeah. It's kind of just it's stupid. We call it blackmailing. Like he's telling you he's gonna do something. Like he's like, well, if you don't ban it, I'm gonna pick it. You're like, well, that's kind of stupid. Like, shouldn't you consider other situations? Nope. It's like if you don't ban it, I'm
Yeah,
gonna pick
you're
it.
going to get counterpicked, though.
It's like, please, like, listen to reason. He's like, no, no, I'm not. So do your shit, but you're gonna lose. And then you're just like, please, Amar. Like, actually, what's crazy though? I don't know if they could have kicked him if they had won this series, because then they would have probably beat Tundra, if I'm honest, and then they would have been like top two, and then the contract shit would have been resolved. I feel one
Sure.
way or another. Because I don't think Valve would just allow them to say like, okay, you're no longer a part of the team. I think they would force some level of resolution there. So
Yeah.
some weird dynamic effect. I was pretty excited for that series though. When I saw the comeback happen, I was like, holy shit, we're doing it again. And then we had a lot of momentum, had a good series against Tundra, crushed them. Game one, game two was a bit closer, but still got the job done. Then finals happens. So a lot of people don't know this, but like at Berlin, we only had about half an hour to get ready for Gladiators.
Hmm.
Like the series ends against whoever we played, Nine Pandas, and then they told us we had an hour and a half. But what ended up happening is we had to use the first because we had to eat food, like we hadn't had lunch or anything like that. Like
Sure.
everyone was hungry as shit. So then like we just had no time to prepare against Gladiators. We felt very, very unprepared and kind of shit. We were just like,
About that, Gaming Gladiators has their hero pool is notoriously one of the lowest
yeah,
at most of these events. So I feel like to some degree you already have some idea of what you're going up against, right? Or is that not the case? Is there something different about going into the finals?
sorry, the end part. So you messaged me something.
Just that like is I feel like you would already have a game plan
No,
for
because
them since they're already a low hero pool team.
kind of like you think about things one thing at a time usually. Like
Okay.
it's not like we're gonna get to the finals, and so we'll play Gladiators. So we should start looking now. We were just like, okay, we'll deal with it one step at a time. That was like our entire thought process this year, because getting to a finals is fucking hard. I know everyone thinks it's easy. I promise you, it's fucking not. Um, so this time at Bali, we were given a lot of time to prep. Because at Berlin, I'm telling you guys, half an hour. and then we had to do the walkout ceremony, you know, like giant violin thing.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they gave us like 25 minutes after that, but like you're on stage at that point. You can't really do draft prep. You know, at that point you're just kind of rolling with like people are doing their setup. And you just
Yeah.
roll with whatever you can roll with. This time in Bali we were given a lot of time. A lot of time. Um, so then we felt very good, at least for 3 drafts. So draft 1 happens, we felt pretty good, like prep went well. Then the pause happens. I don't know what would have happened, honestly, like if the pause didn't happen, but like their team admitted it was kind of shitty, like it kind of stops the game, and like it's not a guarantee that we would have won. I'm not saying that. That would be like that's just a dumbass statement. But like I would have liked to have seen what the game looked like played out normally, if that makes sense.
You guys have been on the other side of that scenario, if I
Yeah, with the
recall.
OG.
You guys had a very long pause and then you turned the game around as a result.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't tweet about it or anything like that. That's why I don't really tweet about like when we, in my mind, get fucked or something, because it's like it'll happen both ways
Hmm.
a lot of the times, if that makes sense. So to be arrogant to just assume that it only plays out against you is like stupid. It's frustrating because it's against Gladiators, a team that like we've been to this like summit so many times. So like it's also like I don't know. I feel it's disingenuous to portray it as like, oh, we get fucked all the time when it's helped us in high pressure moments. So how can I really be? That's sometimes just the way the pendulum swings, and
Yeah.
they are the better team very fucking clearly at this point. So you know, a funny story about that game though. I was sitting with CY, you know, and we're just watching the game. Me and CY watch the games together. We're very friendly, um, and so we're just kind of taking it all in stride. And then the pause happens, and we're by. I don't want to name the person, but we're by the tournament, one of the tournament organizers, the guy like running the event.
Hmm.
And up to this point, we've had a lot of problems at this event. Like the headset's not working, like I said in the Tundra series, like just delays, internet issues. Like I was just fucking fed up. And then this happens, you know, and I'm fucking frustrated because it feels like we tell them that something is wrong and nothing changes. So then I decide to say, because I'm not talent anymore, I don't have to like this is the first time I'm actually kind of an asshole, I'd say, because most of the time Team Liquid, we try to be very easy to work with, and the story doesn't make me look good, but you know, it's just a funny anecdote, and I was stressed, and so hopefully people can have some measure of, you know, what is the word, empathy.
Yeah.
But I decide to say out loud to see why this event is dog shit, just like that, into the air, you know, and he clearly hears me, and he just pretends to not like hear me say it because I think he thinks it's awkward because the game's just paused and I'm just like no one else is there by the way. It's just CY me and this guy. So it's not like I'm trying to flame any of the staff. I'm just flaming him in
Yeah,
particular,
yeah, yeah.
essentially. I'm just saying this event is dog shit. And it's like the first time I felt bad. I should probably DM and say something, but I just wanted to get my displeasure about all this stuff across, which I could have done in a much healthier way. But I feel like we tried that and we were trying to be very like productive, and it just didn't really go anywhere. But it's still not appropriate at all, and I regret that because it my emotions kind of slipped. And CY was very gracious, and he was like, "Yeah, that really fucking sucks, man." But anyways, game 2 happens, very back and forth game, very cool. Then game 3 happens and we get worked and it kind of breaks our spirit. You know, we get worked in 21 minutes and then game 3 or game 4 is just kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Um, so we lose another finals to Gladiators. We're like, oh fuck us. And I tell my team I'm really proud of them and that, you know, we're gonna fucking get these guys soon. And I want to say right after we lost that series, instead of going to the after party, we started brainstorming on how we're gonna beat them. Like if we run into them again, because we're like, we're probably gonna run into them again at Riyadh. And so me and Zai and Nisha and Mickey and Aiden and Boxy, at various points, people came through my room before we went to the after party, and we just brainstormed
Hmm.
how to beat these guys. Because like you said, it's like they're doing the same thing over and over again, but they're incredible at it. Probably the best. I mean, at this point, the most consistent team in Dota ever in a season, right?
Yeah.
No matter how TI goes at this point, it'll still be you can't invalidate their run. Let's say, and we just grind at it. You know, we're just talking about. We're like, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. Like, and we're like, yeah, this didn't work, so we have to like focus more on this. And I don't want to give away too much because it's strategy talk, but let's say that we felt like we kept playing their game and their rules, and they were just better at it than us.
Hmm.
You know, like, uh, yeah, it felt really bad because every single time the series looked the same, and we're like, we can't just keep doing this over and over again. Like, we have to kind of break it up because we've seen what this looks like, and we're just not as good at them when it comes to doing this specific thing. So
Yeah.
we have to break up like how we view things. And that was the beginning of the uprise, let's say. Um,
Okay. Okay.
so Bali happens, week boot camp, nothing interesting happened there. Then we go to Riyadh. We have to do the play-ins. Um, let's see. Um, I I don't know how much I will say about Saudi and like the views and all that jazz. I'll say, I guess, based on our statement that people will have seen and everyone said, like, we got paid for that statement. We didn't, by the way. Using the hashtag Riyadh Masters thing was like a visibility thing. I don't think I know people saw the Richard Lewis thing, but I believe our CEO and him worked it out, and our we like it was just a weird situation. Nothing was untoward, let me just say. People were saying like
The
corporation's gonna corporate, but
okay, I actually just talked about this with Joey. So I know there was a pool of money basically for the teams that
yeah,
was divvied up based off of their social media outreach
yeah.
using the hashtag. So that was my biggest criticism was like I feel like you donate the money. I was fine with all of that, but then you guys kept on tweeting about it with the hashtag, which I assumed meant you were getting a pool of that money.
Yeah, yeah. That part I can't speak to because I don't
Okay,
really genuinely do not know like the logistics of that. I mean,
yeah,
we're asked obviously to tweet with the hashtag Riyadh Masters, but I'm just saying with our statement in particular.
sure, yeah.
Um, I'll just say that I do support like the ideals that Liquid espouses, and when people say like you're a fucking hypocrite, do you say this shit when you're like in America? Yeah, I don't like America either, dude. Like I've criticized America like at every turning point. You know, I vote blue. Like if anybody didn't know where my political leanings are, I'm Democratic, quite staunchly so. Um, you know, I'm very much for social reform and all that jazz. And then so when people say like, "Oh, Liquid's a hypocritical team" and stuff like that, I promise you, it's not like that. And when people say like, "Do you guys say anything when you play in America?" Like, yes, we actually did. When we played in Texas, we donated, I believe, our prize pool from whatever league tournament we played to some abortion shit. Um,
Mhm.
during that time period too. So it's not like we're inconsistent. I remember I was told by quite prominent people at the event that what we did was wrong and all that jazz, but I don't know. I still kind of stand by it. I understand the criticisms and those are valid too, but I just want to make it clear where, my things stand. With that being said, I do think we were treated with a lot of respect and nothing was untoward and it didn't feel like there was any retaliation or anything like that for our statement. I can say
Mhm.
that confidently too, like both of those things exist. And I did feel like we were treated well. Um, so, we'll just leave it at that because saying anything else just make me feel ignorant.
I mean,
Um,
I'll just add on to it that I think we went from Bali to Riyadh. Let me just say, Southeast Asia and Arabic hospitality, very high tier, very high
yeah,
tier.
I can't really speak to the politics of the thing, uh, nor do I really want to on a casual podcast like this, but I'll say the people themselves that lived in the region and stuff like that were nothing but unfailingly nice. Like, there's this guy named Face who drove Chloe, and the tournament organizer told us like 5 hours before we played that we had to have in-ears. 5 hours is an exaggeration, but like 12 hours before everyone had to play. Some teams it would have been like 8 hours. They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you guys need in-ears. If you don't have any, you got to buy your own. So good luck with that. And I know people when they hear this that are like, oh, esports gamers are entitled. Why wouldn't you just bring in-ears? Because normally they provide them. And
Yeah.
it's not just that they provide them, it's that they hadn't said anything to this point. If you told us like a week before the event that we need in-ears, like, yeah, we can just go buy in-ears. But if you just don't say anything and you're like, oh yeah, last second change, you need in-ears. If you don't buy them, that's on you and like you're DQ'd. So good luck with that shit. It's kind of like, what? It's like it's a bit sudden, and because you're in a foreign country, you don't really know where to go. And a lot of people that didn't even work the event were very helpful. Shout out to Face for like driving Chloe and
Yeah, very nice
OG's
guy.
manager around.
I met him as well.
Yeah, I didn't get to hang out with them, which was a shame because we were busy all the time. But I think the culture around that is phenomenal. So that is all. So we get to Riyadh. It's hot. My God, is it hot?
Yeah.
It is if you've never been here or been there, like it's you breathe and you feel like you're breathing in just heat. It just hurts. It's just and it burns the inside of your lungs kind of heat. Um,
The biggest way
and
I
there's
always
no wind.
described it was when there was wind, when you got hit by a gust of wind, you expect it to be cool, but because it's so hot and so dry, it's
Yes.
actually hotter than the standing air. So the
Yeah.
wind is actually like not a saving grace whatsoever, which it really takes an incredibly high temperature and incredible dry atmosphere to do that.
Yeah, I will say on a side note, I prefer the weather there over Bali because I
Oh
prefer
yeah.
dry heat over wet heat. Because even though it's a little bit more unpleasant, I don't feel like I have to shower every 10 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
And also mosquitoes. Oh my God, I got fucked up in Bali.
Yeah. Yeah, Bali will do that to you.
Okay, so we get to Riyadh. Uh, what ended up happening?
You get your in-ears.
I get my
You had to do the
in-ears.
play-ins,
Yeah,
and
the play-ins, the play-ins. I thought our group looked pretty straightforward, if I'm honest.
yeah,
We
you got
felt like
Bed
the
Boom
two
and
best
then everybody
teams.
else.
Yeah, no, no, no. The play-in groups. The play-in groups.
Oh, sorry,
It was like
I was looking at the wrong
Astronauts.
one.
We were quite certain that it was going to
Oh
be
yeah,
that it was going to be Astronauts, and that is more or less how it worked. We lost game one against Entity, and we're like these fucking nerds. Because it was clear that they had like really good prep strats, and they just fucking worked us. Then we got 2-0'd, and then we just 2-0'd everybody else, and that was pretty straightforward. We got 0-2 by Aster because they told us that the game didn't matter, and we were playing them the next day. So none of that shit had any bearing on anything.
sure.
So we were just kind of like, okay. So we decided to clown around. And I got a lot of tweets accusing us of throwing and stuff, but why would we play them in a serious series that changed absolutely nothing? It didn't even change the group we were going to.
Yeah, you guys both went to Group B.
We went to Group B, and the dumbest part is we immediately played each other.
Yeah, yeah, that was weird.
I was very confused at that decision. Um, so we just played 4 games in a row against them. So we start off 1-1, not the best, not the worst. Then we go into a series against TSM where we're 1-1. At this point, I'd say I don't want to flame TSM, but at some point we were just like, huh, kind of sus.
Yeah, frankly,
Um,
if you are losing a game to TSM, it's probably a problem.
yes. If we're
It's
just brutally honest here, I I mean we're Liquid, we're supposed to be the big bad empire. We're supposed to be crushing these guys. Um, so we're 2-2 at this point. I'd say the mood was tentative, or that's the wrong word for this. It was kind of unsettled.
eh.
Nobody's tilted, but it's kind of just there's things in the atmosphere.
Mm.
It's a little bit awkward, just a little bit weird. We say it's fine. We go into our series against Betboom. We're like, we're gonna crush these guys. We don't. We get 2-0'd. We get absolutely fucking slapped. Let me say, I want to call out like Betboom when we were playing against them and their managers out there cheering and like hollering whenever they'd kill us. Like, which, okay, let me say, you can be excited for your team, but if we're watching the game together, because that is what happens. You get given one TV. I like when I watch the game with another team. At the end of it, I'll do like a small fist pump, and I'll
Mm.
tell Chloe and Jabs nice. I don't yell during the games because I think it's a little bit crass and a little bit rude to like. I don't want to call out anybody, but some coaches like scream at first bloods. There was an
Oh,
incident.
I've been there for those, man. I've been there.
Yeah,
I was there for Bali for those.
yeah, there was an incident at Bali where one coach got yelled at by another coach because he would get in other people's faces and just scream at everything. First blood, kills, like, and another coach had to be like, "Can you calm the fuck down, dude?" Like, they weren't even watching the game together. I think it was just you're in a shared space,
Yeah.
is what I'll say. And so I think it's kind of nice to be aware. And I understand that beating us is a big deal, but at the same time, it just gives me motivation. And I was just thinking to myself, oh well, enjoy this. We'll see where we all end up. I remember telling Chloe that and Jabs. I was like, well, we'll fucking see where we end up then, you sons of bitches. I was pretty mad after that one, if I'm honest. Because you're just competitive and you need reasons to like. Was what they did this like crazy egregious thing? Absolutely not. But you just need to find
It's like
reasons to
a
be.
fucking. I was watching The Last Dance recently.
Yeah,
that was like my that was like I usually try and find something to kind of like get me in the mood for competition. That was it for Riyadh. So I
yeah.
watched The Last Dance. It was like Michael Jordan just having any little
And I
fucking
took that personally.
any little slight, and I took that personally. You know.
Exactly. So then, uh, I was pretty mad. But then we played after Bet Boom. Who did we play? We play Shopify again.
Yeah, you played Shopify and
Okay.
another
Oh
1-1.
yeah. And then all of these wins, by the way, to Shopify and like TSM, the games we won were really bad. Like we should not have won. We should have been
Mm.
0-2'd by TSM. We should have been 0-2'd by Shopify. So then things are bad. Mood is bad. Atmosphere is bad. We're silent. After the second game, we go outside as a group. Things are quiet. And then I'm pretty mad. Then I believe Aiden kind of calls me out and says like, if you want this shit, then like fucking push for it in the draft. Essentially, he wasn't mad about it. He was just kind of calling me out a little bit and saying like, you can't be mad at us without. For context, I felt like the drafts weren't the direction I wanted them to go, and he felt like maybe rightfully so that I was kind of blaming them after the fact.
Sure.
And he was like, if you feel this way, then fucking push for your ideas instead of getting mad at us after the fact. And he was not wrong. So then
Because
it was really
this has
good.
been a thing that I know this is not the first tournament you have encountered this problem.
Yeah, so I'm newer to drafting, and so it's just more nerve wracking for me to push my ideas.
Yeah, and to have like the players themselves put forward an idea and to tell them no, and you want this idea. I mean, that's the like how long you been drafting at this point for Liquid?
Like 9 months.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like, if you guys want less input, just fucking say it and tell us what you want, but make the drafts better. And that really fired me up in a good way because it wasn't like I took any of his words badly. He was right. We were not holding to our guns and we were just blaming our team. And he was kind of just like, instead of fucking despairing, like, nut the fuck up and do your job, essentially.
Hmm.
Not as harsh as that. I'm making it sound way harsher, but that's how I took it in a really good way, not like in a rude way, but just more like, if you fucking think you're good at your job, then do your fucking job. And let's fucking see what's up, and
Yeah.
me and Zai kind of worked at it. What we did was we started drafting against each other that night, right after we drafted for hours. I want to say like for 2-3 hours straight, we just grinded drafts. And Zai just kept seeing problems, and I was like, just keep drafting. And the way that we did it was I drafted as a faceless, like I would choose a random team and not tell him who I was drafting as. And he would just draft as us. And I said, stop thinking about what we can and can't play and just draft free. And then we started to come up with ideas. I'd say by hour 2, they started to look a little bit more balanced. The first 2 or 3 drafts, I'd say I just beat his ass. Then, and draft work is really theoretical, by the way, because you're not playing the games out, but you get a sense of it, right?
Sure.
You get like an idea of what things look like. I'm sure you've seen some drafts where you could just predict pretty accurately, like this is pretty stompy.
Yeah, if you had to put a number on it, like what percentage, when you feel confident about a draft, like how often is it that it goes against your idea? Like
Not really.
not that your players play like not when they like
Yeah,
fuck up egregiously, but like literally the draft, like you felt like you were actually wrong about
I say like
the way the game.
80% of the time you can tell
You
that
can tell
something
that
went wrong.
it's like
Yeah.
okay.
And most of the time, it's because they forced you away from something you wanted to do.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we just kept getting forced away from what we wanted to do, and it was very frustrating. And we're 3-5, things aren't going well. We need to win out essentially. We need to win our next 6 games to get through. And I was telling the guys, we can do this, but you gotta really fucking like now is the time to show up. And credit to my team, they fucking showed up. You know, Aiden texted me something which I won't read verbatim, but he just sent me, I don't know, Aiden was really good for me this event. He sent me a lot of positive, good messages just to keep my head up and like to keep grinding it. And I was trying to do the same for him. Um, so then we go to we just make the run from there on out. The drafts start working out. Me and Zai kind of see things more clearly because part of it is like you lose sight of objectivity in a sense when you're in the middle of a tournament, and that 3-hour draft session kind of gave it back to us,
Mm.
which was really helpful. Like the first draft I did against him, he got stomped and he was getting angrier. He's like, "What the fuck do I do?" You know, he's getting really upset and annoyed at himself. Then by draft 3 or 4, you know, the way that we mock draft for anybody that doesn't know is like you draft and you talk to each other. And after the draft is done, I usually just listen to music while I draft so that I can kind of zone things out. Um, then after the draft, me and him kind of discuss where I could have fucked him even harder, where he can see angles, where he can stop me. Like there's a lot of good hypothetical work, and then eventually it gets to a really good spot. Um, so we need to win 6 games. My team fucking clutches it out. We win 6 games. We're sitting in the stands with Sunby, and again, we're being gracious. We're not trying to scream. We tell them like we fist bump. We're like, hey, good, good work. And he's like, yeah. And we are memeing saying that whoever wins has to play against gladiators. Um, I believe we played our first stage games. It was like we played against Secret. They were actually a really underrated team at that event. Um, but we've kind of figured out like the Monkey King thing. Then we played against Tundra, who didn't have Saksa, and we're kind of hurting a little bit. To their credit, they made things work. They went a lot
Yeah.
further than I think people expected. And then we played against Talon, 2 of them. All good so far, right? Everything
Yep.
good. Now, dun dun dun, credits. We play Gladiators.
Yeah, your reward for going 6-0 and making a comeback in the group stage is to face Game Gladiators in the very
Yeah.
first round.
So remember what I said that we finally kind of talked about the team. We were correct. We were gonna run into Gladiators, but the thing is, you don't want to be arrogant and it's a weird delicate balance. You don't want to just assume that you're gonna play them every time.
Hmm.
Which is why we didn't really do it in the previous season. But I felt like after Riyadh, we were like, we're gonna fucking see these guys, so we got to come up with a plan. And boy, did we have a plan for them. We really felt like we understood something about this team, which I don't really want to say for strategic reasons, but if you're smart, you can look at the draft and kind of figure out what we learned. Um, but yeah, we kind of figured this team out, not like 100%, but we knew that we would get them once if we could run a best of 3, especially because beating these guys in a best of 5 is a completely different story. Like I want to give them all the respect in the world, but beating them in a best of 3, you just have to do it any given day. And me and Zai, we worked and worked and worked at a draft that we felt confident in. And we had good ideas. We fucking parlayed those good ideas into wins.
Hmm.
Nisha really fucking showed up. I want to say he solo killed Armel. He solo killed uh, Makoto. He solo killed Quinn. Like this guy just went on a fucking tear
Yeah,
for like
you guys
4
kept
straight
giving him
sweeps.
this fucking mid TA, and he just kept delivering
He was
with
just
it.
he was just fucking absolutely fucking crater people. I was gonna say nuke because I just saw Oppenheimer, but he just fucking cratered people, left, right, and center.
Hmm.
So we beat Gladiators. We're just memeing it up. We're like, haha, fuck those guys. I want to give an anecdote first though. Like I said, me and CY, we're very friendly. I love that guy a lot. I think he's really cool and he's a really good addition to the Dota scene. For guys that don't know, he's a Danish guy, really nice, not a dry sense of humor at all. Like has an easy smile, really quick witted. Big fan of him. Like really massive fan of him. I hate him in the moments, but I love him outside of the game. And we keep fucking running into each other. So for the third game, I said, "Hey man, we can't change anything about game 3. So let's just go get donuts. There was a Randy's Donuts, and whatever happens, happens. When we come back to the game, we'll see what happened. So we go buy donuts. It takes like, I don't know, 13, 12 minutes. By the time we get back, my team's winning like 11-0. We're up by like 9K. He's like, what the
Yep.
fuck happened? Um, and credit to them, they almost pulled the game back, but end up losing. And I told him, I remember they made me do a video bit after the series, and they said like, well, what if you play gladiators? Can you send them a message like a, like a competitive message? That sounds cool. So I was like, if you guys are as good as you fucking think you are, and I think you are that good, then come fucking see us again. Like, do what we had to do every season to come fight you and get an opportunity to fight you. Like,
Sure.
show us your strength.
Make the lower bracket run like we
Yeah,
did
like
too.
show us
Yeah.
your fucking worth. I kind of, it was like a cool guy moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were big fans of that. So then we move forward and we play Talent. Um, Let me say once again, I was personally a bit too overconfident against Talent.
Yeah, you guys have had their number over and over and over again. So it
We beat
made
them with
sense.
jabs. Like we.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big confidence booster. But I felt like it was also, like you said, it was like Tundra, where you guys had this streak where you just never lost to Tundra, right?
Yeah,
And then that got broken at some point. You guys didn't ever really get challenged by Talon, and then you did.
yeah. I'm just gonna be 100% honest, as I will on this podcast, because it's more fun that way. Which is why you can also trust like the whole headset thing, because a lot of these stories don't make me look good. I'm just telling it kind of how it is, because it's more interesting for me to look back on. I will try not to like color things to make myself look good, which is why I'll tell good and bad stories about me. Um, and this is one of the bad ones. I was very overconfident against Talon. I was
Hmm.
like, our prep was really lazy. I didn't really force a lot of prep. If I'm honest, I just kind of wanted to. I was tired at that point because we just been fucking drafting every night for endless hours. I was exhausted. I did not have a lot of juice left. And I was just kind of like, oh, this series kind of my fault entirely, in a sense, in my mind, because I did not come into this like well prepared at all, and I felt like they were very smart.
Hmm.
So game one happens, we ILS them, uh, and then we said we don't want to ILS them in game two, but some shit happens. We end up ILSing, we lose the game. It's annoying because we should have won anyways. It's just bad. Then game
You know what? It's
three,
funny. I've heard this from multiple coaches, drafters, that like they are not a big fan of running the same draft
yeah,
twice, the same opener twice.
I
So
did
it's
not want
funny
to
that
do it.
you guys did not want to do it, but then I
We
assume
ended up
some
doing it.
weird band shit happened, or
Yeah,
yeah,
just
okay,
some dumb shit happened. It happens. It fucking happens.
yeah,
All bad. Didn't like it. And credit to Sunby and those guys. When I say credit to Sunby, I have no fucking idea. So I don't want to say, but whoever runs their strategy, I will give good assumption that it's Sunby, but it would be, I don't want to be like some, no offense, but some random panels like that coach is the entire reason they do it like this. Um,
yeah.
I have no fucking idea what the inner machinations of their team look like. It's like fucking no idea. But yeah, we fucking squeaked that one. I remember I was watching the game and I had mentally given up. Then I was back. Then I had mentally given up. Then I was back. Then I really fucking despaired. And I was trying to ask Chloe when we would play, our manager, when we would play next. And then the fucking comeback happened. And I'm screaming. And I want to rush the stage. And some lady was like, some volunteer lady blocks me and she's like, "You have to go around." I was like, "My team just won a fucking $1 million." And I fucking ran on stage. I just ignored her and I just kept shouting at Zai, "You're that fucking guy. You're fucking him. You're that fucking dude. Like you are actually you're worth every fucking penny." And everyone's forming Zai. Uh, Let me just say, the mood on the ride back was terrible. They try to get
Really?
us into a they try to get us into a van with Talon, by the way,
Oh no.
and we were like, we're not gonna do that to them. Like they need space. What we're fucking excited as shit and like they're depressed.
Yeah.
And Zai was not happy with the win at all. He said, "I feel so fucking bad for this guy." Like I have a lot of Zai was very empathetic. He was like, "This situation fucking sucks for him. Like he played so well in this fucking series and he's gonna get flamed and all this shit and he doesn't deserve any of it." and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of brought us all back to the moment, let's say, because there's somebody on the other side of the screen, and it feels bad, and these guys all fucking work hard, and it sucks ass for that to happen, because 23 Savage is a good guy, and he had a moment of joy, and he wasn't like, honestly, if he hadn't done that, he still might have lost,
Oh
or
yeah,
he
yeah.
probably still would have lost. So like all of those things, like yeah, I'm sure he could have taken back a billion moments, but like fucking rough. Our team just full on empathied. Not me, I was way too excited. But eventually I came down to earth and was kind of like, yeah, you're right. Like that does fucking suck ass.
Yeah, Zai's a king.
He is, because he was like, you don't, you can't, we can't, none of us can possibly understand what that's like, he was saying. And that must fucking suck. So, don't like gloat too hard or anything like that. Like we
Mhm.
got away with one and we should be happy for that. Um, and Mickey was really beating himself up. He was just like, I played like such dog shit. And I was trying to tell him, like, hey man, it's all good, you know. And when we got back to the practice room, Zai and I kind of had a speech with the team. We're like, listen, the better team doesn't always win. Like we all know we got away with one, and we should just be happy and appreciative of that and kind of be okay with it. Like ultimately, we shouldn't be fucking sad that we won. We should be happy, but like still want more.
Sure.
So then we go into our team series against Spirit. We knew these guys would give us Dusa just because they wouldn't see 6-7 Dusa coming or 5-8 Dusa coming. We just didn't think they were a Dusa team. We got it.
Mhm.
Game 2 happens. We should win game 2. We end up losing. Fuck up. Game 3 we get stomped. Like absolutely fucking shit stomped. Mood isn't terrible. It's not great. It's kind of middle ground. Um, then we watch the Gladiators Talent Series until 3 a.m. and it is exciting, Cap. Let me just say, I love Gladiators. I like all of their players. It's pretty well documented at this point that we get along with their team. Before Bali Major, me and Tofu were playing CS:GO until 4 a.m. every night together and just kind of chatting about life for like 3 hours after that. Like we'd
Mhm.
stay up until like 7 hanging out. Um, I have a lot of respect for that team. I just went on vacation with Quinn. I just talked at length about how much I like CY. I like all of their players. Celery and we often travel because he flies from the Netherlands. We fly from the Netherlands. Really good guy. Ace is just really upstanding, clear cut guy. Deraccio and I sauna together. Big fans of them. Now, with that prefaced, my God, were we the happiest team of all time when they lost? Like, when game 3 was happening, we went from like, God damn it, like, because Talon were kind of throwing, but then they cleared it up, and oh my God, you have no idea. We were just like, holy shit, a finals without these guys. Maybe we can do it. We can avoid these
This
guys.
is our time. The
Yeah, the
big
timeline
bad
is
is
working
gone.
out. Exactly. Timeline's finally working out. So we play against Talent. Let me just say, we came in with our ideas are way too good. Like we did not take them lightly this time. There was no like laziness. This was
Mm.
we stayed up. I want to say the series finished around like 2 our time, like Riyadh time. We stayed up an additional hour and a half, and then I stayed up an additional half hour after that to run drafts by myself in my room, and then
Yeah.
I woke up early so that we could run more drafts. Like we just grinded, and I think it really showed in our drafts. Plus, like the like they're a great team, but I felt bad for them. We had to do some photo shoot in the morning, which I think they made them do at night because it would have been better for them. But even then, they're probably only getting like 8 hours of sleep
Yeah.
because you finish so late and you have to get up. The tournament organizer wants you an hour before the series starts, so then they probably had to show up quite early. They're probably riding the adrenaline high, so you're not like it's not like they won immediately went to sleep, right? They had to travel back to the hotel, debrief, take a shower, go to sleep. That's probably an hour and a half after that series ends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
everyone's sleeping at like 4 a.m. Then you have to wake up and leave the venue at like 10:30, 11. So realistically, they might have only gone like 6, 7 hours sleep. So they probably had no time to prep for us, whereas we had a lot of time to prep for them. Let's say we had to sacrifice a little bit of sleep, but you know. So we 2-0 them. Then we get into the Spirit series. Um, we crushed them game 1 because Zai has some brilliant ideas. Zai and Boxy have a really cool idea. Game 2 we should have won, but things go bad, and then game 3 was a fucking disaster. We're crushing them. We're up like 7K. We have Aegis, then fight after fight after fight. This is where confidence is quite low. And I I hear some bullshit all the time about like, oh, I've listened to Blitz's speeches at TI, like he's some soy boy beta that always says it's okay. Like I don't
yeah, like it was because of your I
my
believe it
post
was
game.
the post game interview where you told them like, guys, like, we've done a good job here, like, just have some fun or something like that.
Yeah, I am doing like I just am going through a lot of emotions right now, trying to focus on the games that just happened and trying to be objective. And then they asked me if I do a post game interview at the last second, which I say yes to because it's fine. Then I can't get across the things that I want to convey in like a 20-second clip with Jenkins, and then they just assume and they miss all the other parts. Like before the game, I was telling our guys, like, guys, we can still fucking do this. Like, no sad faces. Like, fuck off with that shit. Like, we're gonna fucking do this, and it starts right here, right now. And I'm trying to be as positive as I can because we were a little bit dejected after game 3. Obviously, I'm trying to like lead the momentum as much as I can, but they're just the better team. Like, credit to Spirit, they were incredible. Um, yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I can't really take the community slash Reddit seriously. Um, I know it's
Well, neither can I. I think it's
yeah.
gotten. I keep saying this. I think the community has gotten like really weird over the last like 2 to 3 years.
I
I
think
feel
it
like there's a lot of
actually
paranoia and conspiracy theories and really
yeah.
negative sentiments. And yeah.
I think this is in a lot of the sports forums that I follow nowadays. The idea that like if you don't win a championship, you need to blow everything up and everything is bad. Um, I don't know. I feel like when I told my team that I was proud of them no matter what, I was. I always tell my team that no matter what happens, like I'll still be proud of them and I'll still be their like guy. I'm not gonna I'm sorry, but like I'm not gonna threaten my players or kick them or like I want people to live in an atmosphere that is positive. I will say I genuinely mean it when like I was proud of them for getting to that point. I wouldn't like them anymore as people if they got first in a fucking Dota tournament. I'm sorry if you want that out of me, but I wouldn't care.
Mhm.
I think being consistent and getting this many seconds is cool. I know everyone will say, I kept this one fucking guy just kept saying, that's some loser ass mentality. Like, okay, man, you played like high school sports. Like, shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
when you say shit like this, you prove that you're a fucking idiot. Like I love my team. I'm
And,
there with
and
them. I am one of the
I would also point out that what is motivating for people in a competitive environment and the environment they need to flourish is different for
yes.
every person. So whatever, like, I would trust that your team and what environment they need to do their best. Uh
You know how many times in
doesn't
this year in a LAN we've had to make a deep lower bracket run and we've staved off elimination game after elimination game. So when you tell me that you've heard like one speech that I made and that was enough for you to determine exactly how our team works and the
well, they
inner
didn't even
workings of
hear the
it,
speech. They heard your 20-second
I'm just like
recapping of your speech.
I have the biggest eye roll. I know it's a meme to complain about the community, but I had so many people like just like coach diff, coach diff, coach diff. Like you have no idea what silent system. And they were
Yeah.
like they pointed to the TI speech, which is dope speech. But they're like, my team is a bunch of sucking scandies. You think like if I'm like, all right guys, we can fucking do this, like go in with a lot of it's like they're gonna no, our team's really chill. And
You
why
can
would I
see your
change that?
war face.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
just, when they were like, this fucking cringe ass speech at TI, I knew this was a useless coach. I'm like, those are all the speeches I made, by the way. And like every time I would just tell my team like some memes that it was okay. All the work is done in the draft, anyways. So then like all of that stuff is just extraneous. You're either the
Mhm.
better team or you're not. And they were the better team than us that time. Like Spirit was really fucking good, guys. If I thought my words
Yeah,
would make
there.
like a 1% difference, they didn't. Like they just outdrafted us and they were really good at the game.
Yeah,
Like
okay, so do you think where do you think they won the series the most? In draft or in play?
I think Yatoro was just incredible.
Yeah, I
I
would
thought
agree with that. I
he
think
went
that
fucking
guy's really
Hulk mode.
fucking amazing.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
he
He was
proved that
just good.
at TI, no doubt, but like it feels like he's like back in that TI form again, you know?
I just I don't mean to say like when people say we choked and stuff like that, or like we fucking suck ass, like it just feels bad because sometimes, if I'm honest, because I felt like to get to this many finals and make it this far in every tournament is like unheard of. It is a consistency stating or dating back to TI where we've gone top three at every single LAN we've participated in. Of course I want to fucking win. Are you kidding me? This is like my 8th second at a major. Like of course I want to fucking win. But for me, like I want to be a consistent team first and foremost because going through the dips and dives of a year fucking sucks.
Yeah, you
Um,
already had to do that before, so
yeah, it just this ass, and I don't know.
you
I
had
just
that. I remember we were doing the COVID. You guys won that fucking ESL one
yeah.
Los Angeles online thing, and like you guys actually won a tournament, but then you guys like sucked ass for like a year after that.
hmm And
So
that them's the fucking breaks. Um, I don't know. I just
I mean,
at the end of the day though,
outside
I
of
want
Team Spirit, and maybe Gaming Gladiators, I feel like any other team would trade spots with you in a heartbeat.
of course.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even Gaming Gladiators. Ultimately, you
They
guys
wouldn't.
did make
They
more
wouldn't. There's
money,
no way.
but no.
There's no way.
Okay,
I think Quinn said if we had won Riyadh, he might have switched it.
sure.
But other than that, like second isn't worth the 400,000 difference or some shit like that. Which I would agree. I would switch places with them if I could. So
Yeah.
that's how I know. But yeah, in my mind, like when people say, "Oh, I'm so tired of Liquid Gladiators," like give somebody else a chance. Well, then fucking beat us. Like
I
if you don't want to see that shit, like
I was literally just saying I've never seen two teams hated so much for just purely winning. You know,
yes,
like just pure because you can't really. I mean, outside of Quinn, you can't really hate on either one of these teams personality wise because everyone's
dude.
too meek and friendly and nice that like there's very little you could possibly criticize them for. So it's pure just the fact that they're winning all the time that is making people angry.
You know what makes me really upset about that? I don't really care about us, whatever. But like when you see gladiators, and I feel like you should respect the sheer dominance of that team. If that was
Yeah.
a secret or enigma, everybody would be fucking breaking their left hand or right hand, both hands, trying to jerk themselves off and be like, greatest team ever made. Like
Yeah,
there would
puppy's the
be like
goat. Puppy's the goat.
yeah, there'd be like
Yeah.
a collective fucking orgasm of the scene. And then it's like a team you don't like, so you're like, oh, it's so boring, so predictable. But like if it was a team secret to me, so impressive. The caliber of skill that this team exhibits on a day to day, it's like shut the fuck up. Like you're such an idiot. Like
Uh,
you can do that, or you can just respect what's happening, and it's a cool thing that happened. When people are like, "Oh, the way that they win is so boring," they're so dominant. That's why they win. Do you think Secret, when they were really good in that online period, had the most exciting
oh
games of all
god, that
times?
was that was
Guys, they just
boring
fucking
ass.
held
That was a boring time. Let me just say.
They just held
uh,
high ground wards and just waited for you to fuck up, and you did. It's
yeah.
like when they were behind in games. Like, let me just say, I'm not even trying to blame them. Like, they're two of my players were on that team, three, including Matu, if you want to. And I would tell them to their face that shit was way more boring than whatever Gladiators was doing. And
Hmm.
then they're like, "Oh well, the way that Liquid plays, you're fucking death ball." It's like, okay, man. Like, teams have fucking playstyles. Like, what do you fucking like? What is a fun way to win? Tell me that. Like, what is a fun, quote unquote, fun way to win? Like,
Yeah, well, because
I,
it's
I
not the
just
Tundra way. It's not the Tundra way. It's not the
yeah,
Gaming
it's not the
Gladiators
Tundra
way.
way. It's
It's
not
not
the
the
us
Liquid
way. It's not
way.
just like it's like
It,
nobody's
it
good
is the
enough.
Team Spirit way. Team Spirit's exciting to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure,
Watching your
no
Toro
doubt.
just pop off on people.
Yeah, that loss was kind of hard. I think Mickey probably took that one the hardest. I think he was
Yeah,
him
it
and
seemed
Aiden
like it.
took that one really hard. Um, but like when people say shit like "fucking carry diff kick Mickey," I'm like, are we seeing the same player? Like, you have one bad series, maybe two. Like, I don't know. You're just stupid. Just like
And
we make the
so
game plan around Nisha. So
yeah,
then Nisha thrives. And then somebody like what people don't understand that are casual watchers, and I hate to do this because it makes me sound really like an asshole, but I want to defend my player. It's like you don't understand that when we draft this hero in the positions that we do, like we first to it and all that shit, he's gonna look worse. Or when he's like our only team fighter stun, he's gonna look worse because there's more for him to have to do in these games. And so just fucking like think for a second. And of all people to flame, Mickey is the sweetest guy in the world. You know, he was just upset because he told me his friends were telling him he was getting clowned on the internet. And
Mm.
you know, like this kid is like he wouldn't harm a fucking fly. You know, I've had one problem with him in the entirety of this team, and I told him about it, and he almost like teared up because he felt bad that he made me feel bad. Then I felt bad. You know, like you just don't hurt Mickey. Like
Yeah.
Matu knew that Zai was gonna make fun of both of us, and then he's like, I can't flame Mick. So then he just flames me instead. Like you just I don't know. It makes me really mad when people flame Mick. Because I feel like this guy has been selfless upon selfless. This guy has switched his role 3 consecutive years to do what's right for the team. Like, go fuck yourselves. I'll never kick Mickey. For as long as I'm the coach of this team, you guys, like, if you're on the community and you're like, well, you'll continue to lose, well, go fuck yourself. I'll always do right by this kid. Suck a dick. Suck 100 dicks. I'll say this right now publicly. Unless, like, if Mickey ever, like, leaves Liquid, it's because it was his own choice. I will never force him out. I will never say a goddamn word. He could be the worst player in the world, 1 KMMR, and as long as, like, he's my player, he's my player. Like,
Well, that's of course the soy boy mentality that
yeah,
the Reddit expert was speaking of. So.
of course, but at the same time, like I want to do right by people. Like this guy
Yeah.
had faith in me the entire way through. I will do the same for him. It's not about like being if that makes me soul boy and not cutthroat, I don't give a shit.
I
I'll
mean,
sleep easy
there
at
is
night.
also something to be said. Your faith has been rewarded. Like he did pop off for you guys during TI. He has gotten
Dude,
you
he popped off in
guys
like
to
5
the
different
second
lands.
place. Yeah,
When I see
he
people flame my
he
team,
is a very good player. Sometimes he has some off tournaments, but you know,
when I see people flame my team, I just roll my eyes because like it's not just the fact that like we're consistent. It's like they're good guys. Like, you think Aiden is like a dickhead that like determines like that you should flame? Absolutely not. Just, I don't know.
so I've got a few questions.
Okay, shoot it.
Uh, so both you and Game Gladiators, very dominant teams, best teams of the all around year so far.
Hmm.
Both of you guys have a carry player who gets flamed a lot by the community. What do you think? Like, is there something to do with the play style that both of you guys have? Something to do with the meta? Like, what do you think it is?
I think people are being incredibly reactionary. I'll talk about Mickey first. I think people are being incredibly reactionary when it comes to Mickey. First and foremost, I think aside from 2 series, he had a fucking stellar tournament. I think he's actually the reason why we beat like if you don't understand why we beat Gladiators and Talon, and why we went on like the 6-0 run in the beginning, it's because you're stupid and you just genuinely don't understand how drafting works. I'll just say it right there. Like we
Mm,
discovered something with Mickey's hero pool that exposed him a little bit more, but opened up the rest of everybody else's.
okay.
And the problem with Dota is that it's like this. Kuro used to have this saying that not all 3 cores can have a good game. One of you fuckers has to look worse.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not that you are worse. It's that one of you guys has to look worse because it is impossible in Dota to prioritize all 3 cores having a good game. It's just not feasible. I just wish some people in the community would understand that. It is like there's just not enough mouths to feed. Like 2 people can look good. 2 cores can look good, but 3 cores looking good is really fucking tough. And then what ends up
I mean, you're
happening in
probably
every
just
team,
outclassing. If all three cores look good, then you're just
yes,
straight out
precisely.
outclassing. You win the
Then your team
lanes,
is just
and
way better.
yeah, yeah,
But at this level, it's just hard to get those kinds of margins. So somebody looks weaker, some Laurel or some like Matu and Old Liquid, like somebody is gonna have their game sacrificed. Because there's also you have to think of supports as resources. There's these guys can only be in like one place at a time, the 2
mm,
supports. And so where you decide to prioritize and move these chess pieces is where things will look stronger. So when a lot of the resources are devoted towards mid or off lane, then those players will naturally look better. You know, like Spirit does a really good job of prioritizing their resources towards their side lanes. So their mid laner is going to look a little bit worse in
yes.
comparison. That is like a strategy that they have decided to run with. Our team,
Avery talked a lot about how they would never their supports through Laurel ever.
yes,
Except for Riyadh, he felt like they started doing that more, and
and they
as a
almost
result,
always,
he looked a lot better. Yeah.
and the way that they ban is also targeted towards making sure Yatora's game is good. Like, that is the point of it, is that if you look at bans, they will tell the story as well of like what direction your team is trying to like cover for, who you feel like is going to run like the field this time around. It's
Mhm.
not like we think one player is better, we just think it's a meta decision. Like it's easier to play through XYZ lane for whatever reason, through scrims or something. It's not like we decided, oh yeah, Mickey's worse, so we can't play through our safe lane. And Yator is amazing, so they play through their safe lane. It's just a meta decision that you decide to make. Like certain heroes work better for your team, and then those heroes are played a certain way through your team.
Yeah, and the
Make
two
sense?
teams that consistently made the finals over and over again, both. Do you feel like you both
We played through
invested
our
more
mids.
resources around your mid non-flaners?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when you're given less resources, the way that these carries have to play is just different. And oftentimes with Mickey, we put him on like our only initiation, and then it's like he misses a stun. It's like garbage player, garbage player, garbage player. It's like,
Yeah,
of
he's
course,
playing some aggro fucking. He's playing some weird like 2 or 3 from the safe lane a lot of
yes.
time for you guys. Yeah.
And then with Deraccio, it's like his team doesn't really like to cover blind space, and he does.
Yeah, he
Uh,
will just boldly
he'll just walk
fucking
up.
push out the most aggressive farm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then people once in a while he gets caught out. They're like, "Oh, fucking trash ass player." Oh, I fucking knew if they had any other if they had any other player telling them that like they had to play through him and shit like that, and that wouldn't walk up those hills, I promise you that team would be 100 times worse. We'd clap them every single time. That is what a bad team looks like, guys. When you're trying to give all three of your, I don't want to flame any team, but there's a lot of teams that try and like feed all those mouths,
Hmm.
and it does not look fucking good at all.
I
It
could
looks
think of
fucking
I
terrible.
could think of 1 or 2. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're probably thinking of the same team.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it looks way worse. And so when you type that shit, it makes me mad, not because like these guys can defend themselves, but it's like you're so fucking ignorant and stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But
I
they
mean you
act
can
with
just
the
blame me. Like,
confidence. Yeah.
yeah, it's like probably blame me, if anything. Like aside from speech stuff, the strategy part, I just didn't cut it at a lot of these finals. And
Yeah.
hopefully I get better and I improve, but like, when you flame my players, like you're stupid. Especially the things that you flame them for. There's like certain things you can flame, but like some other shit is just dumb as shit to read sometimes. It's kind of
So,
like you're just not accurate about it. So
yeah.
ah,
So you touched on the strategy loss,
yeah,
drafting loss. You guys have had to go through the lower bracket every single time, correct? Every
yeah.
single final you've appeared at, you've had to go through the lower bracket. You've never been the team seeded in and gets to watch the lower bracket final. Uh, how much of a difference do you think that? I mean, you already talked about Berlin, but do you feel like, give me like a percent. Like, how much better would it be for you guys to be in an upper bracket finals? If you
I
guys
don't
go
know.
into TI upper bracket finals, are you like 10% more confident that you're gonna win?
It's hard to say because the benefit of it is that you're warmed up
Yeah.
and you get to like you really get to get better through that run. So it's hard to say. It's not so straightforward. Let's say
Okay.
because there are also benefits from going through the lower bracket because I think genuinely you learn a lot about yourself, your team, the weaknesses before you get into the finals and stuff like that. So it's hard to say. That part is a little bit shittier.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, if I sounded salty, guys, I'm not really. I'm just on one, and we're on a podcast, so I want to be more entertaining and more. I'll say like, if you're a part of the community that says these dumbass things, I don't blame you at all because I do the same shit when it comes to the NBA. Like I don't fucking know shit about basketball, like the sport itself. I watch it, of course, but I don't know the intricacies of like how fucking defense works and to that level. And I still am willing to type on my. I have a NBA only Reddit account, and I'm fucking more than down to type some hot takes. So say whatever the fuck you want. At the end of the day, I don't give a shit that much. It's just
I'll blame you
me.
because I'm not dumb enough to do that shit that William does. So
Yeah. So I have no. I'm just saying, like, have some awareness of that too. Because when I type in the NBA shit, I'm fully aware that I don't know fucking shit. So some of you guys that are like overly confident about that,
I talked
But
to
yeah.
you guys finished up the finals, and then three of your players ended up going straight from there to the airport. I know because we had the same flight together.
Oh yeah.
And I ended up hanging out with Aiden pretty much the whole time for our flight from Riyadh to Dubai, and I could definitely tell he was down, but I think he did a really good job of trying to keep his own spirits up. He hung out with me, talked. He asked me how he pretty much just asked me questions, and I just talked
Mhm.
about my experience, talent stuff, all that sort of thing. But I remember one note, and I'm gonna guess some of this is your influence. He talked a lot. The limited he talked about himself was he talked a lot about how he wanted to be thankful for the opportunities and the experiences that he has, and try not to be so negative. Is this character development that's recent, or is
I
this
think for
something
the
he's
other
always had?
players, I would take some credit, but I think with Aiden specifically, he's always been pretty good about that.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe sometimes I'll remind him, but for the most part, he's his own guy. And, you know, I thought I actually hadn't talked to him until he called me while I was on vacation.
Yeah.
So I went on vacation with a lot of Dota people,
Yeah,
all
I saw
friends, by the way.
Quinn, Crit, Nat T, Sheep. Don't
Yeah,
know
all
the others.
dating rumor shit is just dumb. Uh, no, ain't nobody dating anybody. Just stop being annoying. Stop being parasocial and trying to guess or anything like that. Just being weird. So anyways, um, actually, I'll say this. The only thing that genuinely bothers me, like really gets me going, is when people speculate about Boxy's situation. Because that feels personal. All the Dota stuff, and like I'm having fun with it. If you only listen to the first half where I'm complaining about the community, I don't really care. It's like your fucking right to like complain about me and say that I'm a shit coach. That's like 100% fair. You can read into those moments that you get because you're not given full access to our team, so you're gonna make some assumptions. All good. Like that's fair. It's my own fault for how I presented things, anyways. So I'm not actually that mad. But the boxy stuff genuinely frustrates me. And similarly, like speculating on people's like personal lives and stuff like that, it's just kind of weird and cringe. Uh, with that being said, we went on vacation. One of the nights I did a cocktail omakase, which is like a guy makes you a bunch of cocktails based on like your taste preferences, and
Mm-hmm.
you just get drunk because you have like a bunch of drinks. So I'm with some friends, and uh, I'm pretty drunk at this point. I've had 6 cocktails, and he also gives you like shots of stuff to kind of like try things. So I must have had like 6 cocktails, maybe if I had to eyeball it, like 4 extra shots on top of that, like full cocktails. And then we did a round of tequila after that too. So I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
hammered at this point. I'm so hammered that there's a video that one of my friends took of me like hiding under the table and just like I don't know, I was fucking drunk.
It sounds like
And
some
then
William shit. Yeah.
I get a call from Aiden, and I'm really confused because we hadn't texted or anything. I just wanted to give him some space because I know he wasn't super happy about the loss. So I get a call from Aiden, and he's like, "What's up, dude?" And I was like, "Hey, man, it's like pretty late at night." He's just like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm at like kind of a bar. I'm pretty drunk right now." He's like, "I'm drunk too." And then he just insulted my private bits, and and we just had a funny time. And I told him I loved him, and he told me he loved me too. And then we hung up.
Very
It
nice.
was like a 10-minute conversation. I don't want to repeat the
Sure,
other
sure.
intimate details of it, but it was just a nice talk. And he just said, I told him I appreciate him in my life. He told me he appreciates me in his life, and then we hung up.
Very nice. What else did you do for your vacation?
Um, let's see. So we went and we did a lot actually. It was quite a fun vacation. Like, first day we got there, we had Indian food, which was really fun, and then we got a drink at a cocktail bar. Um, and then Sheep decided to order milk from a McDonald's, which was fucking
Okay.
unhinged. Have you ever heard of
That
that? Somebody doing that?
no.
That's fucking disgusting, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sheep has done a good job spreading out her tastes when it comes to food, but I
Have you
was
ever
there
heard?
when she was working beyond the summit and fucking. I remember there was like it was something like tacos or something like that, and she was like, "I don't eat that." And I was just like, "What? What the fuck do you mean?"
Yeah. Uh, we had Indian food that wasn't spicy, and she was like, "This is so fucking spicy." I was like, "Oh my
No,
god,
yeah,
I fucking hate white people." No, I'm just kidding. But she was just, yeah, I think she enjoyed it for the most part. Then we split up. We did our own things that day. Then we went to some arcade after, where Krital was getting fucking worked at the arcade by non-gamers. Let me just say, just throw
there
that
you
one out
go.
there. I fucking smashed everybody at Mario Kart. I 2-0'd.
Of
Just saying.
course, yeah, yeah.
Also, Jack came on our vacation for the first 2 days. So
Of
Jack
course,
was
yeah. I
flying.
mean, Jack just finds a way, you know. He
Jack was
fucking
flying.
finds a way.
Jack was flying from Riyadh to to London to New York. And then on the first leg, he's like, "Should I just come to London with you guys?" I was like, "I'm not sure." And he's like, "All right, fucking, I'm gonna come." I was like, "Okay." And then you just stayed at our place. Of course he asked, and he asked me if it was cool, and I said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
good." But just funny situation. So then
That's not he fucking latched himself onto our last London vacation.
he did. Um, and then we had just a bunch of food. Uh, Highlight of the trip was we saw Hamilton as a group.
Oh, nice.
Um, Hamilton was incredible. Really, every time I look over, because like Quinn really wanted to see Hamilton. I don't know if people know, but he fucking loves Hamilton. He
Hmm.
was like enraptured, like edge of his seat, like fucking just could not take his eyes off the thing.
Cute.
But truly incredible, like really really cool. And yeah, then we just got drunk a lot, hung out with some friends. Like, yeah, it was super fun.
Nice.
I really liked everybody. It was my first time seeing. I don't even know how that like particular 5 people got together, including myself, but I kind of just did. People were like, "Oh, I would go." And I was like, "Oh, I'd go too." It's like, sure." Then it was super fun. They were easy to live with. Uh, yeah, nobody was weird. Everybody was cool. Super fun. Would do it again.
Nice. What's the plan leading up to TI? Because you guys have some time off, though there is going to be some tournaments between now and then. But I assume you
Um,
guys are taking it easy, kind of no matter what your participation is.
I think we'll start grinding again in about a week, and then we'll kind of see from there. So we'll grind in a week, and then we'll kind of figure out where to go from there. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just also we saw the Barbie film and Oppenheimer. Both were
Oh
quite
yeah,
good. I
yeah.
enjoyed those. Yeah.
I only saw Barbie, but I did enjoy it
Ah,
quite a bit.
watch Oppenheimer in IMAX would be my only suggestion.
Hmm. Okay. I may or may not happen because I don't think that's. Well, I'll ask her, but I don't think it's really Ellie's kind of movie.
Um, I would really highly recommend watching it in IMAX. I think it's a really cool film, actually. Like really highly recommend it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's I think that covers pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about that I had.
I guess we're gonna do another one of these post TI. Hope
Yeah,
you guys do well
hopefully.
there. Hopefully you make
Yeah,
another finals.
honestly, if we don't, that's life. Maybe this is where we finally falter, but if it is, that's
Uh,
life. We've had a good year.
well, from my understanding from Joey, you guys are currently holding up the Liquid Org, so apparently the other teams aren't doing so hot right now.
Bro, we trying so fucking hard. Also,
apparently
wait,
your guys' Valorant team just bombed out. So
L. I
yeah,
want to make predictions real fast.
okay.
Let's see. Upcoming TI quals. Okay, I'm gonna lay out all my all my qualifier teams, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. From Southeast Asia, I think it will be I think Blacklist will go through.
Blacklist.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my spicy take. I think Blacklist will go through. What about you?
I I think that is actually a pretty good take because I don't think Bleed is going to make it through. And Execration, I mean, at this point in time, if you're from Southeast Asia, you better hope it's Blacklist because
Yeah,
Execration has never done well on land. So
yeah.
you better just hope Blacklist does it this time. So I'll agree
From
with that.
China, I think it's Aster.
You think it's Aster?
I think it's Aster.
Damn, you just holding on to Sumail. I don't know. It feels like there's a little bit of I don't know. I think Sumail's a little frustrated. That's
I
the
don't. I
that's the
think it's
vibe I'm
Aster.
getting.
I
No,
think it's Aster. I think it's
okay.
Aster. Okay,
You don't believe in Somnus God?
maybe, but I think it's
I'm
Aster.
going Azure Ray, locked
Okay,
in.
okay, cool. Um, from Eastern Europe,
Okay,
here's where I'm gonna really throw out a spicy take. Okay,
okay,
I think it's gonna be Namiga Gaming.
really? Okay, with Malrine. Okay, all right. Why?
I just think they've got the juice.
Okay. I think Malrine's pretty good. I legitimately don't know many of their other players. I haven't covered Eastern Europe in quite some
Yeah,
time, so it's
Roger's
Malrine and Roger. That's all I know.
he's an unknown player.
Thank you, so.
Western Europe. Okay, I'm gonna save that for last. South America, I think
Okay.
it's Thunder Awaken.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
pretty easy.
yeah, and I think it's most likely Infinity. No real spice there. I
Oh
could
yeah,
see
they get
X
double. I
Infinity
forgot
also
about that.
potentially, but I think it would be Thunder Awakens and Infinity if I had to guess. I think that Lumiere guy is actually a really solid player.
Okay.
Okay, then we go to North America. Now, I feel like Nouns should get through,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I feel like this if they don't get through this year, like something really fucked up.
Yeah.
But my
Yeah.
real spicy take is that Wildcard figures it out, and Earth Spirit and Willow just got buffed, and Taiga could just go absolutely fucking pancakes. Because
I
I
do
think,
feel like you're a little biased.
yeah,
I do think
but
you're gonna be back in Taiga no matter what.
I think he's the best player in this qualifier, if I'm just honest, in NA,
Sure.
and I think he could do it. But I think it's most likely Nouns. It's
Okay.
like for me,
I'm
so I'll
staying on
hedge.
nouns on that one.
Cool. Now Western Europe, my spicy takes.
Mm.
Actually, they're not that spicy. I think it will be. I think it should be Quest for almost certain. I think
Okay.
I would
What
like.
do you think about their pickup of Toby?
Yeah, it's fine.
Like you just that's totally fine. Okay.
Yeah.
No change to that
Toby,
team.
yeah, Toby will be fine. Um, I think their team is really good, so it'll be chill. And then I think, I don't know. I really like OG. I really like Seb as a guy, but I feel like I just kind of feel like Secret might do it.
Oh, okay,
That's my real
okay.
spicy take.
Really?
I think it might be Quest and Secret.
I mean, what's is that just full faith in Secret, or do you feel like OG? It's kind of weird with the. I mean, these teams are making some player change ups, right? You've got Seb
Yeah.
Kitrak, OG. You've got Entity picking up Gabby. I don't know about the others. I guess Nigma have Mikey now,
hmm
Yuma. So
I don't know. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the stars.
I mean, you did say that they were an underrated team at Riyadh. They did make it through both play-ins and the group stage, right? And then they
Yeah.
got into playoffs in lower bracket. They lost to Nine Pandas, who
hmm
was a pretty good team. So, yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable.
What about you? Quest and Secret?
I mean, I'll definitely go Quest. Uh, uh, I do. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree in some ways that OG and Entity feel like relatively unknown units. And I did think Secret was okay at Riyadh. And Riyadh was a pretty stacked tournament. I'll join you on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck it. Puppy's going to do it again. That man can't miss. Which is, he won't miss a fucking TI. Real spicy. Never mind. All right. That was all of them. That was all the
That
regions.
was okay. Is there anything else you wanted to cover?
No,
Or
I think that
anything
was
you had to
it.
ask?
No, I think that was it.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, then that's good.
Good luck at TA.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Don't get second again. Don't do it.